Everything and who went down to Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived in the north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas and the whole Christmas season, and now don't ask why. No one really quite knows about this reason. What could it be? Perhaps if his shoes were too tight, could this be his head wasn't screwed on just right? But I think that's most likely the reason of all. May have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small, or whatever reason, his heart or his shoes. He stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from this cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm sight of the windows below their town. For every Who and down in Whoville beneath was very busy now with a Hollywood leaf. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled, with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, I know all the Who girls and boys will be awake bright and early. They'll rush to their toys, and then, oh, the noise, the noise, the noise, noise, noise. There's one thing I hate. All the noise, 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 and noise. Then all the Who's who were young and old would sit down for a feast, and they feast, and they feast. They'd feast, 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 feast. They would start feast on the Who pudding, the rare Who roast beast, which is rather something the Grinch could not stand the least. And then they do something that they hate most of all. They'll stand close together with Christmas bells ringing, and they'll hand in hand and stand on Who's will start to sing. And they'll start sing, and they'll sing, and they'll sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of the Christmas Who thing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. For my 53 years I've put up with this now. I must stop Christmas from coming, but how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed his throat. I'll quickly Santa Claus hat and coat. And as he chuckled and he chuckled, what the great Grinch trick. With his coat and his hat, he looked just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since the reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he calls his dog Max, and then he took some red thread and he tied the big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags with simply empty sacks. All ramshackle sleigh, he hitched up the old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up," and the sleigh started down towards where the homes of where the Who's laziest snooze in their town. All of their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air, and all the Who's were dreaming about sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first house on the square, "This is the first stop, number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed. He then climbed on the roof with his axe in his fist. He slid down the chimney at rather a tight pitch, but if Santa could do it, so can the Grinch. As he snuck his head out of the fireplace, where the sleeping Who's sat up their stockings in a row. These ones, the Grinch said, the first 2 to go. Of course, he swung and chopped with a smile most unpleasant. But after what he did earlier with the Who's, he took their present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. He then stuffed things in his bag, and then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed the bags, one by one, up the chimney. The Grinch then snuck right through inside the Who's room. The Who's who spoke to see the Grinch in their room. He swung and then Who and ran down the hall and hid in the closet, but the Grinch kept hitting the door with the ball. Fell Who, fell lures, dolores, dolores. Welcome Christmas this way, fell Who fours, fell doors. Welcome Christmas Day. The Who told the Grinch was gone. He shivered and quaked and begged for dawn light. The Grinch waited silently for the Who, then ran up, and he of course finished that Who. Oh dear, what a mess I made, the Grinch cackled, eyeing at the presents. And you could take a guess. Oh, a present for me, another one for me, and oh, one for me. Oh, fabulous day, Kalu Calais. He then slunk into the icebox. Who took the Who's feast, and then they took the Who pudding, and then he took the roast beast. He cleaned out the ice box as quick as flash. Why the Grinch didn't even take their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up in the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove. And then he only learned a small sound of coo of a dove. He then turned around fast and saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who. That's who it was too. The Grinch had caught her by this tiny Who daughter, who got a hold of bed with a cold cup of water. Before she stared at the Grinch, she said, Santa Claus, why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know the Grinch was smart and slick. He fought up a lie, and he fought it up quick. Why, my sweet little Who, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on the tree that just won't work on the right side. So I'll be taking it home to my workshop, my dear, and I'll fix it there. And I'll bring it back here. His fib had fooled the child and patted her head as she got her drink and then placed the plastic bag over her head. She struggled and clicked and then gagged for help, but there was no one who came for her aid. The Grinch had ended up with a sweaty gulp. Then the last thing he took was for the log of their fire, and then went up the chimney, himself on the lyre. And then the walls were nothing left but some wire. And then he had a speck of food that left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing the other Who's house, leaving the crumbs and bodies for much small for the Who's mouses. And it was quarter of dawn, and the Who's were all gone, but the Grinch did not give two craps about it all. Packed it up with their presents and their ribbons and their wrappings and their snoofs and fuzzies, their triangulars and trappings. 10,000 feet up the slide of the Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load of tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh-do the woos, he said, grinchily and humming. I can imagine the looks on their faces. They were just walking up the tree to see me, act straight in the air, and they know just what to do. Their mouths would hang open for a mouth or two. Then the Who's down in Ooville cried boo-hoo-hoo. That's nice, the Grinch said. I simply wanted to hear. He dumped all the presents and their ribbons, their wrappings, and their snoof and their fuzzies, their triangulars and trappings down Mount Crumpet, so down that no one will ever find it. And after that, he cooked the food for the feast, and he and himself, the Grinch, carved a little roast beef. But of course there was more, as it was the roast beast. Alright. Well, that was definitely something. And that, my little pretties, was how the Grinch killed Christmas. The Grinch who stole Christmas, I guess you could say creepypasta. It's more of a poem, but I'm gonna call it a creepypasta because it makes more logical sense. This is written by the Dark Cat. Dark Cat, I want to thank you so much for writing this story. Thank you for letting me read this story. This was appreciated. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. My final thoughts on this story. Well, it's a pretty good poetry pasta or creepypasta, whatever it is. It's actually really nice and well done. I can definitely say this was definitely a big pasta that I really wanted to narrate, which is a pretty interesting one at that. So I could definitely say that the story itself was actually really nice. The grammar of this story was absolutely amazing, along with the sentence structuring. The grammar was good, the storyline, everything about it was just, I don't know what to say. It was just flat out amazing and really well done. And I definitely have to say, it was a pretty good story for what it was. It was a pretty interesting that it came to that, so I could definitely say that I really do enjoy how this story went out. It was actually really amazing and really well done to what it happened. So I could definitely say that, this story was actually pretty amazing. Despite the fact that this story was pretty amazing and well made, but however, it was just a pretty cool concept. So, I'm definitely going to have to say that right now, that I really remember this story being a really well done and good concept when it came to the story. Now, I could definitely say this one was definitely something. I'm gonna say that right now. for what this story was, it was a pretty interesting story. It actually flat out well with it, so I could definitely say that it was pretty damn awesome when it came to that story. I could definitely say it was pretty cool, to be completely honest, but I could definitely say I definitely would have to say this one was really amazing and well done. Although it could definitely be, a little better. But, with that being said, I'm just going to sit here and, explain what this story was about. So, with that being said, I'm going to sit here and say right now that I liked this story. I liked it how it went out. It was flat out amazing. It was pretty flown out, downright awesome. Especially with the concept itself being, this amazing. I could definitely say there was definitely a lot of time and effort into the story, so that's definitely a very good thing. So, what did I actually like and think about this story? Well, for one thing, I could definitely say that it was really something. The Grinch sitting there, having an axe and go ahead murdering, the Who's to stop Christmas from coming and stuff. That's actually pretty amazing. Well, pretty amazing in a matter of way, but that could be maybe just me talking. I don't know. That's just probably maybe just me, going all nuts or crazy, but I could definitely say I could actually picture this story to be flat out good and amazing. Despite the fact that the story actually had a very good potential, it was still really good. So, with that being said, what did I actually think about this story? Well, for one, the grammar of this story was absolutely amazing and well done, along with the sentence structuring and the storyline and everything like that. I know that I'm uploading this video, the day after Christmas, but you know what? It's still a pretty good story. Like, I could definitely say there was a lot of great concept within this story. It was just amazing. And, I was really freaked out when I saw this. This one was just amazing. The Grinch sitting there, murdering people and stuff. Oh my goodness. I was like, what the hell was even this? I don't really know what to say. It was actually a pretty amazing concept when it came to that. So, I definitely have to say, this one was actually a pretty interesting story in a matter of ways. So I could definitely say there was definitely a lot of great concept to that. So, all right. I guess I'm just going to explain, what I liked about the story. For one thing, I could definitely say, how it all went out. Instead of, the Grinch, it's kind of like the Grinch, it's kind of like a rewrite of the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, except Grinch is sitting there and murdering everybody. Oh my goodness. There were certain parts I couldn't read on this because due to how messed up it was, but I could definitely say it was really, really something. I could definitely say that was definitely something, but it was a pretty good concept with it. Now, I have no doubt that the Grinch would go, this nuts and, kill a bunch of the Who's. Oh my goodness. When you really come to think of this story, I haven't heard about the Grinch story in a long time. I think I used to read the books when I was a kid. Comment if you have too, because I'm sure most of you guys have. But, with that being said, this one was actually really messed up and amazing. But overall, it was a pretty good story, so... Well, it's more of a poem, but I'm going to call it a story because why not? You guys could call it whatever you guys decided. So I'm just going to sit there and say right now that this story was actually pretty amazing. So, with that being said, I'm going to sit here and say right now that this is simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas or funny or poems. Whatever you guys prefer to call this. If you want to call it a poem, that's fine. If you want to call this if you want to call this like a creepypasta, that's totally fine. I'm just going to call it whatever I decide. So, with that being said, my final rating of the story would have to be a 10 out of 10. Really amazing story, Dark Cat. You did a really good job with this story. This one was just definitely amazing. Although it was pretty freaky, what the Grinch went out of his way and did, but it was just flat out amazing. Just did a really good job. So, this story, that's why it gets a 10 out of 10. Great story. You did a really good job. Okay. I guess I kind of, already explained what I liked and disliked. I didn't have anything negative to say about this one, so I guess we're all in the clear. So, with that being said, what did you guys think of this creepypasta or poem? Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what would you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, Be sure to like, comment, subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. And don't forget to ring the notification bell when I upload because you guys will not miss an upload if you do that. So, with that being said, please roll the outro because I'm out of here. And I'll be seeing you all in the next video. So, peace out, everyone. And as always, hope you all have a Merry Christmas. And I'll see you all next time.